everyone, welcome to your practice. I'm Alison Faith and today I've got a 30-minute slow, low flow. So we're going to focus on fluid movement, keeping quite low to the ground so that we can balance strength and flexibility with remaining calm and centered. It might be helpful if you have a yoga strap for towards the end of the practice. If not, a scarf is perfect, or any form of belt will also work. You may not need either. And also this practice, although it's going to be relatively accessible for people who have a moderate level of fitness, you might find it more beneficial if you have an existing yoga practice, because I'm going to focus less on the physical technique of each of the poses and more on the fluid movement between them. Let's start in child's pose. And as you release your sitting bones down towards your heels, and then start to stretch your torso forwards, lower your forehead and take a moment here to settle, to arrive, to welcome yourself to your practice. Acknowledging that this is time for you. Start to draw your awareness away from the external environment and into the internal landscape. And become really curious about the sensations that arise for you here. As always, this is your body, this is your practice, so listen to yourself first and only do what feels like it's beneficial for you. And as you're ready, we'll come on up to all fours, bringing the shoulders over the wrists, the knees underneath the hips, starting to move in and out of cat-cow, arching your spine as you inhale and rounding your spine as you exhale. Inhale, arching. Exhale, rounding. 2 more. Breathe in, arch your spine, lift your head. Breathe out, round your spine, release your head. And again, inhale, arch. And exhale, round. Come to neutral spine, inhale. And then on your next exhale, tucking your toes underneath, pushing back, finding your first downward facing dog. And having a good fidget here, a good feel into this shape. So it's fine to maybe bend one knee, bend the other knee. Maybe bend both knees and draw the torso towards the thighs. Rolling the shoulders away from the ears. Releasing the heels towards the ground, not forcing. And then coming to stillness here. Make sure that your head and neck are free. Take a breath in, roll the spine forwards, come to plank position. And again in plank, just take a moment, crown extending forwards, tailbone extending backwards. And then use an out breath to lift the hips and release back to downward facing dog. And we'll move between these two a couple more times, inhaling forwards, plank position. Exhaling backwards, downward facing dog. Roll forwards, plank, inhale. Lifting backwards, downward facing dog. And then this time you'll roll forwards on your inhale, finding plank position. We're going to lower all the way to the ground. You can drop the knees if you need to, releasing all the way to the ground. And then bring the elbows underneath the shoulders, so you're in Sphinx pose. And we'll do some Sphinx press-ups to forearm plank. So taking a breath in here, as you exhale, start to curl the tailbone back, lift the pubic bone up, lift the hip points up, lift the thighs, round the spine as if you're a cat. And then inhale, slowly, slowly, roll back down and lift the heart. 2 more like that. Exhale, curling in, rounding up, feeling your core say good morning. Exhale, releasing. Last one of those. Inhale. Exhale, curl on up. Take a breath in here. And then exhale, releasing back down again. Bringing the forehead to the back of the hands, just pause for a moment and soak up the residue of those few movements so far. And then bring the hands towards the center of the chest, elbows squeeze in, shoulders roll back, peel up to a low cobra. Push back, child's pose. Inhale, coming up to all fours. And as you breathe out, push back again, downward facing dog. So this time from downward facing dog, we're going to walk the feet to the hands. I like to have the feet around about hip width apart, making sure the outside edges of the feet are parallel with the outside edges of the mat. Take a hold of opposite elbows, soften the knees and let the spine dangle. Then start to bring the hands onto the shins, and as you inhale, extend the crown forwards, the tailbone backwards, you lift halfway. And exhale, release. Inhale, lifting halfway. And exhale, releasing. One more like that. Lift halfway on the breath in. This time as you exhale, fingertips to the ground, step your right leg back. Come to a lunge. And in the lunge with the fingertips on the ground, roll the shoulder blades back and down and away from the ears. Extend the crown of the head forward. Some of you might struggle to actually reach the ground here. It's helpful to perhaps have some blocks, or even if you've got a couple of hefty books that you can reach the hands onto for a bit of extra support, go ahead. Take another breath in here. And then as you exhale, bring the back knee onto the ground. Bring the hands onto the left thigh. Start to lift the heart, but keep the tailbone descending. So you allow the stretch in the front of the right hip as opposed to dumping it in your lower back. Lifting your right arm, take it to the left shoulder blade. And then lifting the left arm, bring it to the right elbow, stretching the front of the arm, the shoulder, or maybe reaching around and binding. Continue to take long, smooth breaths here. And then inhale both arms to vertical. We'll push back to child's pose on the exhale. We'll inhale, coming up to all fours. And back to downward facing dog as you exhale. Roll the spine forwards to plank position. lowering to the ground. Exhale. Curl up to cobra, breathe in. Breathe out, releasing down, really slow. 2 more like that. Inhale, curling up. Exhale, releasing down. Inhale, curling. And exhale, downward facing dog. Pausing here, breathing, feeling, being. Use your next exhale, feet to hands, walking the feet to the hands. You can keep the knees soft, you can keep the feet hip width apart, or you can straighten the legs and bring the feet together, interlacing the fingers behind you, drawing the arm bones forwards and over the head, saying hi to the shoulders, making sure you're not adding tension in your head and neck here. And then releasing the fingertips to the ground again. You're going to take the left leg back and come to that lunge with the knee lifted just for a few breaths here. And as you're here, roll the shoulders back, let the heart lift, let the crown extend forwards, at the same time as making sure your neck feels free, tailbone extending backwards, back leg is super straight. And then you can begin to lower that back knee to the ground. Bring the hands onto the thigh, and I find it helps to back out of the shape a little bit. That gives me more space to send my tailbone down towards the ground. I'm not tucking my tailbone, I'm just releasing it down, drawing my pubic bone up just a fraction to create some engagement of the core, which keeps my lower back nice and long and open and not compressed. Once I have that, then I can bend that front right knee a little bit more, lifting the left arm, taking it to the right shoulder blade, lifting the right arm, taking it to the left elbow, and then possibly, if it serves you, you can bring the hands around and bind. To those of you that know me know that my view is that the depth of your practice is never measured by the shape that you're making with your body. Always honour what your body's telling you. Lifting the arms on the inhale. Exhale, child's pose again. Inhale, come up to all fours. And exhale, downward facing dog. Roll the spine forwards, plank position as you breathe in. Lowering to the ground, exhale. Curl up to cobra, inhale, we'll do 3 of these again. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, curling up. Exhale, lower down. Last one, curl your way up on the inhale. And then downward facing dog again on the exhale. And this time in downward facing dog, lift your heels, stretch through the arches of your feet, and drop your heels over towards the right side. So you're still in the shape of downward facing dog, but you've dropped your heels over to the right, stretching into the left side of the body. And then come back to the center, lift the heels, stretch into the other side, left side. Coming back to the center, lift the heels, And lower the heels into downward facing dog again. Bringing the feet together on the midline of your mat. As you breathe in, lift your right leg. And as you breathe out, step your right foot between your hands. So this might come in one stride, or you might need to take a couple of strides to get there. It's fine. So if your foot just comes here, slowly, you've got plenty of time, bring it forwards. You want to make sure that the front foot is anchored on the ground, so the heel isn't lifted. If your heel is lifting, bring the foot further forwards. And then we're going to place the left palm on the ground, the right hand on the thigh, opening, stacking the right shoulder above the left, and then possibly lifting the right arm. A little easy twist here. They say it's easy. As you exhale next, bring that top arm down, lower the back knee onto the ground, straighten the front leg, and bow to that right hamstring. Inhale, bending the front knee, lifting the heart, lifting the arms. And exhale, step back, downward facing dog, lifting that right leg again. So back to down dog, right leg lifts. Inhale, forwards, plank position. Exhale, ground. Inhale, curl up, cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog again. Lifting the heels, stretching the arches of the feet. Drop both heels to the left side. Pause. And then come back to center, lift the heels. Drop them to the right side and pause. Back to center again, lifting the heels, releasing, and then bringing the feet together on the midline of your mat, lifting your left leg on the inhale. Use your exhale to step that left leg between the hands. Take a moment, set yourself up so your foundation is secure, the front foot is anchored. And then planting the right palm on the ground, slowly start to stack your left shoulder on top of your right shoulder. Open your heart, lifting your left arm. Top arm comes down, slowly placing the back knee on the ground. Straighten the left leg. And then breathing in, bending that front knee again, coming forwards, lifting the arms, lifting the heart. And as you breathe out, the hands come to the ground, stepping back, downward facing dog, lifting that left leg, coming forwards to plank. Both feet on the ground, lowering, exhale, rolling up, cobra, inhale. And then from here, just child's pose. So sitting back in child's pose, releasing, letting go of all control of the breath, and just allowing your body to receive the practice so far. Receive the ripples of the movement and observe the sensations, both the physical sensations generated by the movement, but also the mental sensations. You'll reach your hands forwards in child's pose. Come on up to all fours. And then push back to downward facing dog. And we'll walk the feet to the hands, but taking the feet a little bit outside the wrists. So the feet are turning out. I'll turn to face you now. Feet are turning out. And you can sit into a squat. Your heels may be lifted or there may not be. You're aiming eventually for the heels to come to the ground, but that might take the time that it takes. And then as you're ready, coming to sitting. And we'll bring the soles of the feet together here and just gently flutter the legs in Buddha Konasana. And then we're going to shift gears a little bit into some stretching and opening. Extending your right leg forwards, bring your left foot over the right thigh. Anchoring that left foot with the right arm, hug the knee, lengthen the spine, lift the heart, and start to twist. So if some of you know deeper variations of this twist, obviously go ahead. If that serves you, I'm going to stay with this one. Keep the breath nice and long, keep the spine nice and vertical. Check in with your front right leg and notice what it's up to. That's usually enough to make the foot flex and the leg straighten. Coming back to center, extending both legs forwards. We'll come into Paschimottanasana here. Now this is where some of you might enjoy a strap or a scarf. You can lasso your legs, keep the feet flexed, lift the heart, and then just use the strap to help you forwards. I'm going to turn to the side again just so that you can see my spine. So as you come forwards, for those of you that have quite tight hamstrings, this can be a really helpful way to have something to pull against, something that can keep your spine nice and straight. Otherwise we kind of end up rounding and over-rounding the spine and causing tension. For those of you that don't need that, you can come forwards and maybe reach for the legs. But again, don't be seduced into thinking that touching the feet makes you a better person, because it doesn't. And then come on up. Keeping the left leg extended, hug the right knee in and step it over. And as you can see on this side, I'm trying to anchor that right foot on the ground completely. It may not, you might have difficulty in achieving that, but that's where you're headed with it. Left arm hugs the knee, right arm behind you, lift the heart as you breathe in. And then slowly twist the spine as you breathe out. Lengthening on the inhale and twisting on the exhale. Couple more breaths here. Once again, one of the common things that happens here is that the front left leg just goes all floppy and doesn't think that it's a part of the pose. So bring your awareness to that left leg, flex the foot, straighten the knee. Come back to the center again, extending both legs, and then once again, either with or without the strap, find your way into a forward bend here that feels beneficial. And I seriously encourage many of you to sit much more upright than you think you want to. You're looking for a stretch in your hamstrings, which will enable and allow freedom in your spine. If your shoulders are hunching up, if you feel like you're having to pull yourself forwards, back away and find a place where your spine feels free, even though your legs are getting a stretch. You'll get much more mileage from that. Releasing, shuffle your bum towards the front of the mat. Hips quite close to the heels. Roll the spine down. I'm going to flop down. And just moment here, bring the heels towards the hips, feet about hip width apart, hand on belly, curl your tailbone under, and just be still. And just before Shavasana, we're going to reset the spine, moving up and down into a very low bridge with more emphasis on breath and on range of motion. Hands down by the sides. As you breathe in, curl the tailbone, lift the hips. Not really going for back bend, just extension. Exhale, roll the spine back down to the ground. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, lowering. One more, lifting on the inhale. Lowering on the exhale. And then this time, soles of the feet together, knees wide. One hand on your belly, one hand over your heart, eyes closed. Feel your body. As you're ready, extending the legs, finding Shavasana. Legs a little wider than the hips, arms a little wider than the torso. Make sure that the back and the front of your neck are equal length. So sometimes some people's chin is very lifted and the back of your neck is very compressed and the front of your neck is very open. It can feel really nice to have a cushion under your head if that naturally happens for you, so that where possible your spine feels nice and supported and natural. And here your job is to do nothing with full commitment, trusting the earth to support you and your body to sustain you as you take rest. So if you have a little longer than 30 minutes, please feel free to stay. If 30 minutes is the amount of time you've allocated for your practice, start to make some gentle movements now, fingers, toes, wrists, ankles. Drawing your knees in towards you. Rolling over onto your right side. And then slowly coming up to a comfortable sitting position. Bowing your head to the wisdom of your heart. Acknowledge everything you've done for your mind and your body. Acknowledge everything that your mind and body does for you in every moment of every day. And acknowledge everything that you are in every moment of every day. Thank you for practicing with me. Namaste.